Hello guys, and welcome to another episode of Haunted Gaming. And today I'm going to be doing a creepypasta about Mario. All caps. It's a Super Mario World hack, apparently, that he found on #SMC forums, something like that. And it's really, boring at the very beginning because it doesn't get into a lot. Just explaining on what he did first. So I'm just going to jump right into the more exciting parts. The dragon coins were unobtainable, and everything was missing from the world, even the enemies. And they were all named different things. So I'm going to jump right into it now. Now I thought things were starting to get a vibe that the author was a twisted and warped individual, and that I was right about Mario having done something. At this point I was basically rushing to get to the end of the level, so I just scurried by, and then I came across another message box. However, the one was just a blank box with point of advice at the top. Nothing else in it. I quickly disregarded it and headed off. Upon reaching the end, I saw a fire flower in the top block, where the four-way block intersection used to be. However, it was too high for me to reach by normal means, so I just continued onward. Like the blind, curious idiot I am would do. So I finally beat the level, and as usual, the path to the Yellow Switch Palace was unlocked. I decided to head up the path that normally leads there, and I found that when I entered the main overworld, every other landmass and decorations beside the ghosts from the ghost houses and Yoshi's Island itself were gone. Nothing really changed at Yellow Switch Palace except for the Switch message. All that changed was the Switch Palace was changed to Mario World. Boring. Real boring. Anyways, just when I thought I was done with this abomination that calls itself a hack, I found that Yoshi's Island 2 had been also edited. Oh joy, I thought to myself. Sarcasm, of course. Upon reaching Yoshi's Island 2, I found that it had been renamed Yoshi's House, the original name of level 104. I decided to enter it and found that the palette of the level had been changed along with the background. They seemed to have been changed to the same palette as Yoshi Island 3, greenish tan and such, except the background was pushed down some and was now a rotted brown color, and that the vegetation on the FG was now no longer present. I decided to explore the level a bit and came across the trail of Koopas that countless players have used the shell to rack up one-ups with. I decided to ignore them and go see if any more of the level was changed. I eventually came across the mystery that holds Yoshi and decided to free him. Upon freeing him, I got this message. Hooray! You freed me. Thank you. My name is Yoshi. On my way to rescue my friends, Mario trapped me in that egg. Somewhere not far from Yoshi's mystery block, I found a message box in the same place I remembered that it had always been. Though, if I've learned anything at all from playing this, it's that whatever had to be in the message box was not even remotely normal in the slightest. This made me hesitant to hit it, but I ended up doing so anyways. I wanted to find out more. The message I was greeted with was as follows. But is there anything I can do to change your mind? What the fuck? I thought to myself. What the hell does that even mean? Change my mind. What would I change my mind about anyways? Was this about Mario and whatever he did, and about how people were trying to convince him to stop? Was Yoshi talking to me through message boxes, or was it about me? About me playing the hack, asking me if the hack was trying to talk to me through message boxes? Either way, it was for more backstory on what Mario had done, or if it was questioning my decision to keep going. I decided to keep progressing despite the obvious signs. I should have quit playing the hack a long time ago, and I knew that. As I progressed further, I found that I was right. All vegetation was now gone, and nothing was left at all. Except a few enemies, like chucks, moles, and such. Even the pipes were gone. I came across another message box. Like all other times before I decided to hit it, I was greeted with yet another cryptic message. Point of advice. This is the selfish way out. The selfish way out. What the hell? Was he calling me selfish on continuing to play the hack despite the warnings? Had Mario made some kind of selfish decision that only benefited him? Was Yoshi still trying to talk to me? What the hell was this guy trying to tell me? At this point, I was creeped out to the point that I was shaking slightly. A mix of anticipation, fear, and the fact that my room was terribly cold that night. I closed the message box and once again proceeded further. The area with the moles seemed the same, except for the fact that the blocks next to the vine block were gone, along with the happy clouds and dragon coin the vine allowed access to. This made me feel gloomy, to say the least. Not so much frightened, I was depressed. It's a feeling I couldn't really explain well. From this point on, it was basically just a big empty stretch of land to the end of the level. I proceeded quickly. I wanted to get the fuck out of there right away, as I felt that I had spent enough time looking around. So me and Yoshi, I still had him at the time, opened up the next path on the overworld. It too was changed. What once was Yoshi Island 3 now read Yoshi's Island 7. Memories from Super Bobeto World floated in my mind, how the levels would take giant leaps in number order, which made it seem ridiculous. Though at this time I didn't quite find it as humorous. Due to common sense and obvious reasons explained earlier. Well, it wasn't really explained exactly. I entered the level. As I entered, I was welcomed by a solid black background, with the blue and gray colored floor. The place seemed frozen, lifeless, and barren. There was nothing in the level at all, except the goal point. Just a clear stretch of land with nothing else at all. I quickly lost interest and finished the level. This would seem like the most empty and creepy level in the game. Though, as you'll read on, it gets far worse. With the level beaten, a new path open. Yoshi Island 4 was now just leave now. Now I hesitated as to whether or not I should stop playing, but my interest kept going me further. At this point, hashtag SMWC was nothing but me posting finding and messages from the hacks so others could experience what I was experiencing. Channel, sadly, was unusually inactive. Seemed like no one really cared or wasn't around. I felt alone. I proceeded into the level. For the most part, everything seemed the same, save except for the fact that there was now no water at all to keep me from falling into pits that were using Yoshi as a sacrifice. The level was also void of all enemies as well. You get it if you cut at the end. If you can collect, you can. Whenever I got to an area that seemed too far for me to jump, I found that I could just walk right across in the air, thus getting rid of the need to use Yoshi as a sacrifice. It's apparent that the hack wanted to keep him. I could tell that much. I was able to get the pipe that usually leads to the exit level. I went in and found that the room was exactly the same, everything in the right place and nothing edited, or so I thought. The brief message box once again broke the mood of the brief moment of relief I had gained upon entering the pipe. At this point I was questioning whether I should keep going, to see how it ends, or quit now while I still have a bit of common sense left. The message box was sort of indistinguishable, and couldn't really make sense of it. For a moment I tried to figure out what the box meant, but eventually I just gave up and beat the level. I figured that box wasn't worth the time anyways. With the level beat and the path to the first castle open, now renamed from Number 1 Ziggy Castle to Number 1 Go Back. I sure did feel the welcome here. I decided to completely ignore the level name, as I just wanted to get this over and done with. What seemed like a normal castle intro was made really creepy, given the fact that I had to dismount Yoshi. I felt the first time I was actually abandoning him. I wish I had taken him with me. The inside room of the castle looked strange. There was a darkish, bluish, greenish, black lava on the ceiling. And there was gold points that looked like pillars. Aside from that, next to each pillar there was an increasing amount of message boxes next to each pillar. The further I got, the room was basically just a big hallway, no enemies or anything of sort. Every message box I pressed either gave me a blank box with Yoshi's signature at the bottom, or the message that reads as followed: "Don't you think you've caused enough trouble? Another cryptic message, though at this point I wasn't surprised. Not in the slightest. Again, the thoughts of my head start circling, wondering what exactly Mario had done. Why he was here, why everything seemed to hate everything about him, and wanted him gone forever. I was feeling more depressed and scared at this point, to be honest. I had no idea what to expect next. I proceeded down a long hallway, checking message box filled with nothing but same two messages over and over and over again. It's like they were telling me to stop playing or something. Obviously, I ignored them. There was a door which I entered. I was welcomed by nothing but a small section of land, and at that, the level was auto-scrolling, so I figured this must be the end. The offer wanted me to jump into the pit to commit suicide or something, thus ending my journey. I was wrong. The auto-scroll pushed me over the ledge, and I was still walking. Unfortunately, the whole level was nothing but a long stretch of invisible land to another small piece of land, just big enough for the boss door to fit. The auto-scroll came to a stop, and I prepared for the worst. I gathered my composure, swallowed some of the spit in my mouth, and took a deep breath. Nothing but normal Icky boss. I felt cheated in a way, though I was happy to think it was finally over. I defeated Icky with 2 jumps effortlessly, which was actually the quickest I've ever beaten him before. After he fell in the lava, the course clear message popped up as usual. It ended, and I was brought to the rescue egg screen. Now instead of the usual message, I was shown with something disturbing, vastly different, like a profile for the scene of a crime. Victim number 1. Eyeballs were unable to be found. The victim was found lying here on the carpet. Cause of death unknown. Hand marks with unidentified fingerprints were found all over the corpse. What the fuck is wrong with this guy? I said. As I read the disturbing message, it was a hack, but still, who the hell was this victim? Why were their eyeballs gouged out, and just what could have the identifiable fingerprints been that found on her body? Was this Mario's doing, is what the offer was trying to tell me, and furthermore, was the girl Princess Turbosul? It took me a while to see if I read the message correctly, and then I proceeded outwards, though I was wondering what happened next, since the main map was completely gone and there was no trace of it anywhere. To my surprise, it still showed that the path marked to Donut Plains, the event tile still being there, marking the path to the lone level on the giant map that was once the main world. It was still called Donut Plains 1. I thought we were finally done once more, but when I entered the level I could see that, like the previous times, I was once again wrong. Upon entering, I saw 2 message boxes. They said this: "There's no way out of here. Fly away." I found it quite strange that both message boxes were contradicting each other. One was telling me that there was no way out of here, of this accursed hell, and the other was telling me if I could fly away, I could be free, though I saw no feather or enemies to grab one with. Was this telling me that I could either rise up and go to heaven, or stay in hell forever, wallowing in despair? Did I need a cape to proceed? And what happened after this? Is the whole game like this? I began to create more thoughts in my head, trying to figure the message boxes out, but to no avail. I proceeded to walk to the right. I made a jump, but I found that I was stuck in the area. There was an invisible wall, and I had thought that I had hit a dead end. When I landed, I tried moving right again to see if there was any way to go on. All of a sudden, I heard a pipe sound, and I was making the pipe animation, except there was no pipe present, so it looked quite odd. It's almost over, guys. I was then taken to a level with a black background, stone blocks for ground, and a small door. I was immediately given a mushroom to prevent me from entering it. So I proceeded further to see if there was anything else in the level. I found that the room was nothing but a long stretch of concrete blocks and doors that were too small for me to enter because of the mushroom I got. It's obvious that the author didn't want me going in any of them, or I wouldn't have gotten the mushroom in the first place. As I proceeded, I found myself at a dead end since there was nothing left for me to look at. I tried to go right again. It worked. I went through a brick wall. It acted like a pipe. I did a pipe animation that looked like I was going into the darkness. I was then taken to a small room that seemed like a pit and a wall. I jumped down the pit, seeing as there was no other option, though I found that the bottom of the pit was solid. trespassing down into a bunch of areas until I came across a pipe. Mario slowly did the pipe transition downwards off the screen, expecting another level. I waited, but there was no more, just a black screen. I was unable to continue, unable to pause or exit the level or move. There was nothing, nothing at all. This was the video game representation of death. A crash. Mario had died. After playing, I think I finally understand what was happening. I believe Mario was atoning for his actions, eventually being plummeted into hell that looked exactly like Yoshi's Island, where he was lost to the grip of death forever. I was finally done playing and quite relieved at that. The nightmare was over. Activity on IRC seemed to be back up again. I quickly shared my details with the rest of SMWC. I typed this documentation of it. If you feel daring enough, you too can witness my tale firsthand. The hack can't hurt you, or can it? Well, that's it, guys. Tune in next time for another Haunted Gaming episode. Of course, I think this will have to be either shortened down or split into two parts, one being shorter than the other. So I guess I'll just read the aftermath. I'm not reading that. There's a really creepy ass picture on there, and I don't like it. Don't like it one bit. But if you convert the text file to a JPEG or PNG or something, it's really creepy. I'm not going to look for this. I'm not. I'm not going anywhere to look for this. Don't ask me to do it. You do it. You want to find it? You do it. Okay? Remember to like and subscribe. Comment any suggestions you have.